What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I am Sid the Nerdy Mark, and today I have your review of AEW and NXT. Now, unfortunately, we do have to begin with a bit of a sad note. Shad Gaspard, one half of the WWE tag team Crime Time, unfortunately has passed away earlier this week when he was at the beach with his family, and he actually was found missing for a couple of days. But you know, he did go out a warrior. He went out a hero, as he did have the lifeguards and everybody to tell him to save his 10-year-old son before they tried to save his life. So you know, obviously I didn't really watch much of Crime Time matches, but I heard they were a lot of fun. The Gaspard even turned heel at one point, and I heard that was an entertaining run. So that's awesome. But I also heard that he was a good man in general, even stopping an armed robbery in 2016. You know, so that was pretty awesome. So, I mean, you know, it's just unfortunate that the good ones go so fast. And you know, 2020 has already been kind of a bit of a crap year, and you know, we lose another soul, such a wonderful soul in the form of Shad Gaspard. But you know, I don't want to get too religious, but you know, I guess God has gotten another angel up in heaven. So you know, rest in peace, Shad Gaspard. Thoughts and prayers to his family. Another thing is my predictions for AEW's Double or Nothing will be up later this weekend, probably a few hours before the show. I've already recorded and edited it by the time you watch this video, and you know, I will put it out on Saturday right before the show. Hopefully Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, around that time. Excuse me. I'll put it out. But that's pretty much it. With that being said, let's begin with this week's flagship shows, and we'll start with AEW Dynamite. So AEW does begin with the Dark Order and the Exalted One, Brody Lee, making an entrance right before 10 has a match with the true AEW champion, Jon Moxley. Brody cuts a promo, basically gives 10 a knighthood, calling him a special knight or something like that, or a white knight. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was weird. But he did motivate 10 to hurt Moxley for Brody Lee as like a showing of his loyalty to 10, to the Exalted One of the Dark Order. Moxley does come in, he's pissed, and he murders 10, basically. I mean, 10 definitely does get some offense in this match. It's nothing too bad, really, nothing to write home about, but Mox is having the advantage in the beginning, but he gets distracted by the ref. The 10 does get the advantage, but finally Mox does escape a fireman's carry, hits a paradigm shift, then a God-style pile driver, and then finally one more paradigm shift to put away 10. Afterwards, he grabs two chairs, wraps one around 10's arm, tells Brody to bring back his title, and gives him until the count of 10. Brody Lee appears on the Titantron and says basically that he made this personal, Jon Moxley did, and that he sometimes sacrifices must be made in war, so he will see him on Saturday. And Jon's like, all right, see you on Saturday, and he just whacks the chair onto 10's arm and breaks it. So yeah, so it's safe to say Jon Moxley is not happy. So we will see how this plays out this Saturday. Up next, we do have MJF taking on Marco Stunt in a rather short match, but I guess that's kind of what's expected. This is to build up MJF versus Jungle Boy, obviously, so he's taking on Marco Stunt. Marco is out there all by himself, no Jurassic Express on his side. MJF doesn't really take this very seriously, but Marco is able to escape a bear hug by, you know, slapping MJF's ears and whatnot, but he uses agility for a little bit, gets a few licks in, but ultimately MJF hits the Salt of the Earth armbar. After MJF distracts the referee, Wardlow chokes Marco Stunt on the ropes, so that allows for much easier pickings for one MJF. Afterwards, MJF makes Marco Stunt kiss the ring by putting it on his finger and punching him in the face. Jurassic Express trying to make the save, but to no avail. Wardlow and Luchasaurus stare each other down. That's definitely a match I want to see, but that's pretty much it. Not a bad match, nothing to write home about, just kind of building up for Double or Nothing and the match between Maxwell and Jungle Boy. Next up, we do have Jake the Snake Roberts and Arn Anderson. They go one-on-one and they cut an amazing promo. I'm not going to get into too many of the details of the promo, but I just gotta make sure that I hit some of these points. First of all, I think Arn Anderson made a great point where he said that that this would have been a dream match. Anderson versus Roberts would have been a dream match. Funny thing is, if both of them were still in WWE, this probably would have been a match in Saudi Arabia. But regardless, they basically put over each other's clients. Jake putting over Lance Archer, because of course he does. Arn Anderson putting over Cody, because of course he does. Now, they do make it a point to big up the whole thing that Mike Tyson will be coming out of retirement and presenting the TNT Championship. That should be pretty cool. The promo ends when Arn Anderson has the line of the century, well, line of the night. He tells Jake Roberts to continue to do his DDP yoga because he wants him to be limber enough when he spine busters his ass. And Roberts flips the table and the refs come in between both men, even though they want to really kick each other's ass. But yeah, that's not going to happen in AEW because, like I said, if they were in WWE at this point, they would be booked for a match in Saudi Arabia. But luckily, that's not happening. Up next, we have Orange Cassidy taking on Rey Fenix. But before that, Pac cuts a really haunting promo. First of all, reminding us that the Death Triangle is still a thing. He puts over Fenix like no one's business. And the editing makes it look like there's two Pacs standing next to each other. One in his gear and the face mask because of the virus, and another one where he's just wearing a sweatshirt and a black scarf. I don't know if he's trying to steal MJF's look, but either way, good to see Pac, even if it's just for like a minute. This match was really good. Fenix tried to attack Cassidy as he was entering the ring, but Cassidy just nonchalantly just brushes it off. He didn't even get hit, he just goes in. Fenix is looking very disappointed, but this leads to a great match, a great back and forth. A lot of high-flying action from Fenix and some surprising technicality from Orange Cassidy. Again, it's always a treat to see him, especially when he tries. Kip Sabian finally comes out with a ladder and distracts Cassidy as he sits on top of it. This allows Fenix to hit a low blow and finally a cutter and pins Cassidy for the win. After the match, it's just utter pandemonium. SCU come out, tip the ladder over with Kip Sabian. Out comes Havoc, Jimmy Havoc to equalize the brawl. Then Fenix has a suicide drive to everyone on the outside. Then Colt Cabana makes his way and hits a acai moonsault, and it's just crazy. And then of course the best friends launch Orange Cassidy onto everybody on the outside. Like I said, utter pandemonium. Fenix looked like he took a huge bump, but apparently he is okay, so that's good to hear. But this was cool stuff. The brawl ensuing afterwards was great, so yeah, that's all I gotta say. Next up is women's action. We have Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida taking on the team of Britt Baker and the women's champion Nyla Rose. Not a bad match, nothing to write home about here. Apparently, Britt Baker did get injured in this match, which is a little concerning as she does have a match against Statlander at Double or Nothing. Let's hope that she's okay, and if she is injured, then speedy recovery to Britt Baker. I mean, she is a dentist after all, so I'm sure she can take care of herself. That joke didn't make any sense. Nyla Rose picks up the win for her team when she beast bombs Hikaru Shida. Afterwards, she gets a table, goes up to the top rope, about to do a senton, but Chris Statlander grabs her and stops her just long enough for Shida to come up and superplex Nyla Rose, leaving Shida standing tall before their match at Double or Nothing. We now have the first edition of Sean Spears News, or SSN, a parody of CNN, of course. He basically makes all the news headlines about the Rhodes family, Cody Rhodes being a terrible person, and Dustin Rhodes with a mediocre career, even bringing up his drug abuse back in the day. So, that's hits home, I guess. Finally, he does challenge Dustin Rhodes to a match at Double or Nothing. And I didn't actually record this prediction as I recorded my prediction video before this episode of Dynamite. So I'll go ahead and give you my prediction here. Real quick, I mean, first of all, I think it's going to be a good match. It should be good. Sean Spears is a good athlete. Dustin Rhodes is very good as well. Obviously, he's still got it, right? First of all, I'll say that this segment made me care about Sean Spears. I like this news gimmick of his, so hopefully he continues with that. But as far as their match in Double or Nothing, I think that Sean Spears should and will win against Dustin Rhodes. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our main event. Matt Hardy taking on Sammy Guevara. Now, Matt Hardy comes in. He is all business. I mean, he does the delete thing, but he's basically just all business. He doesn't pander to the crowd or anything like that. He just goes straight for, Sammy Guevara. When the bell rings, he is absolutely merciless because he's still pissed off at Vanguard 1 because Sammy Guevara was the one who really beat the shit out of Vanguard. So obviously, Matt Hardy is going to be very, very displeased. It's all Hardy for the first half when he hurt Sammy until Guevara does counter a twist of fate later on. Hardy does attack Guevara's foot. What is it with everybody attacking Sammy Guevara's feet? Do people have a foot fetish of Sammy Guevara's feet? I don't know. I mean, if that's your jam, go for it. Sammy does go for a shooting star press, for which Hardy does get the knees up, and then hits a twist of fate to win the match. Afterwards, we do see the inner circle at the football stadium, and they've tied up Kenny Omega, and they're beating him up. Matt Hardy goes on his way. Then afterwards, the Young Bucks come in to make the save for Kenny. And then all the way from like the very end of the football field comes Adam Page and boom, buckshots the hell out of Jake Hager. And the playing field has been equalized. This is good stuff, especially with Adam Page coming back. I loved everything about it. And of course, eventually Matt Hardy does come and make his way to the field. Afterwards, after the inner circle are kind of gone away, this is actually the first time the Elite are standing tall before their match at Double or Nothing. Otherwise, they've been, laid flat by the inner circle. So finally, it looks like there's some hope for the Elite. Although Adam Page does say, okay, my job's done, and he just kind of heads on to the back, probably to look for the alcohol. So yeah, but this was cool. Got me really, really excited for this pay-per-view, especially for the Stadium Stampede match that's going to happen. So can't wait for that. Great episode of Dynamite. Great job on building up a lot of these matches. But for now, let's move on to NXT. NXT does begin with Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. They come in and they make their wonderful entrance once again. I would say that the blocking for this entrance has gotten a lot better because right when Scarlett says fall and pray, she kind of just ducks down, allowing for Kross to just pop up and scowl. It was awesome. I love everything about it. They are putting all their chips on Karrion Kross, so I'm very, very excited. But he does squash another jobber with the Kross jacket, but afterwards, Tommaso Ciampa interrupts, cuts a promo, basically making it a point saying that they're both very special men, and a match between those two guys would be special, and the only place to have it would be at TakeOver. So we have our first match booked for TakeOver in your house. Not my house, in your house. Next up, we do have El Hijo del Fantasma taking on Akira Tozawa as part of the Interim Cruiserweight Tournament. Wonderful, wonderful match. Oh my god. First of all, Fantasma's mask looked epic. It looked like the Punisher and everything, and I loved it. He's my favorite Marvel character, by the way. So, if you dress up as the Punisher, you're good in my book. Also, if you dress up as Deathstroke, like how Nyla Rose did, you're good in my book as well. Fantastic match. A lot of chain and mat wrestling to start it off, but so much speed and agility very quickly. A great exhibition of lucha libre and Japanese puroresu. Really cool. Tozawa finally hits the senton, but Fantasma rolled out of the ring. And finally, Tozawa did try to get Fantasma into the octopus hold, but Fantasma counters it into a phantom driver and wins this match. What an amazing show of talent by both of these men. I hope we get another match between these two guys in the near future. Up next, we have Mia Yim taking on Santana Garrett in a very short match. Basically, Mia Yim wins with the Protect Your Neck finisher early on. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae come in, and they basically make it a point to say that Mia Yim never deserved an opportunity against Charlotte because she blew it. So, and said that if Candice were there, she would have been NXT Women's Champion by now, obviously. And Johnny Gargano says, well, we're going to show you what happens when people who don't deserve an opportunity get an opportunity. They both enter the ring. Yim hits Johnny, but Candice comes in to make the save. They both dump her out onto the outside. Out comes Keith Lee, Mia Yim's real-life boyfriend, to make the save. And they both are trying to attack the Garganos, but they do end up escaping. So it looks like there's going to be a match at some point between these 4 people. Later on, we did have Lee cutting a promo and basically challenging Gargano for a match at TakeOver. Now, this could either be a mixed tag match between, Yim and Lee versus the Garganos, or it could be Johnny Gargano versus Keith Lee for the North American title. Either way, I'm excited to see where this goes. Next up, a match that I was oddly enough looking forward to. Roderick Strong taking on Dexter Loomis in a pretty good match. The story here is that Strong is nervous throughout the match, that he is pretty haphazard with his attacks. He's literally just trying to get Loomis to quit staring at him because it's creepy, obviously. But Loomis continues to just have this dispassionate look on his face as he continues to go on with the match. Loomis does bring the hurting, a lot of classic style moves, a lot of, just regular old right hooks and left hooks and spine busters and whatnot. Dexter even countered a Olympic slam into a Luthez press, so that was cool. But Strong did roll up Loomis to win the match. Afterwards, Loomis does get Strong on a sleeper hold on the outside, and the Undisputed Era come in and they kick the shit out of Dexter Loomis, but Dexter Loomis just takes the pain while he's bear hugging Roderick Strong until he basically goes to sleep. Velveteen Dream comes out to make the save. He's wearing an Era t-shirt. He does a purple Rainmaker out onto the outside where the audience is going to be. That's a pretty dangerous spot. What is it with people this week and doing all these dangerous spots, between Ray Fenix doing his spot, even Britt Baker getting injured, I guess, and, now Dream doing this kind of injury-prone spot. We see Strong still knocked out, and Dexter Loomis is just caressing him, and it is the greatest thing ever, and I absolutely loved it. So really, really excited to see this odd couple pairing of Dream and Dexter Loomis. So we'll see what happens down the road. Up next, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, the Brit Am Brawlers, take on Everrise. We haven't seen Lorcan and Burch since the pandemic, so this is pretty cool. They haven't missed a step. Matter of fact, I would say that they are a lot more grittier and a lot more faster this time around. I guess it's because it is their first match back. But they do quickly put away Everrise with their double submissions, and then after the match, they do make it a point to mock Imperium, I guess implying that they are coming after the NXT tag team titles. That is going to be an awesome match. So early on, we did have a promo from Timothy Thatcher after the events of last week. He basically said that he left the Matt Riddle circus and that he wants a rematch. He says he doesn't want any more fluky pins. He just wants to either get knocked out or tap out. So Matt Riddle later on responds to this. First off, he says that he calls him Trashyton and says he's not a stallion, he's a putz. I don't know who says that anymore. But he accepts the challenge and says, you want a match like that? I think we should get in a place where we're both familiar. Let's get inside of a steel cage. So that should be good. We're going to get an MMA style match in NXT next week, and that's going to be awesome. Bro. We get the final sort of preliminary match in the NXT interim cruiserweight tournament. That's a long phrase. Anyway, but we have Kushida taking on the ever persistent Drake Maverick. What a great match here. I like this one too. A lot of good mat wrestling to start things off, but quickly picks up the pace. Jake Atlas is in the crowd, I guess, motivating Drake Maverick. He's kind of like rooting for him here. Kind of basically became like his cheerleader, which is awesome. Maverick refuses to stop despite whatever is being thrown at him, no matter what the stakes are. Kushida does get Drake in a surfboard lock, but Maverick does roll up Kushida to win the match. This is great. But then afterwards, Jake Atlas gets in the ring. Byron Saxton comes in and delivers a message from William Regal, basically saying that since all three of them have a 2-1 standing in this tournament, there will be a triple threat match next week to determine who faces off against El Hijo de Fantasma for the Cruiserweight title. Those two matches, no matter who wins, is going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to next week. We now get Damian Priest on the entrance ramp cutting a promo on Finn Balor. He basically makes it a point to say that Finn Balor absolutely put NXT on the map and he's kind of a flag bearer and whatnot. So in order to live forever in infamy, whatever he likes to say, he needs to beat Finn Balor because he's basically like the standard bearer for NXT. And so he challenges Balor to a match at TakeOver. So that should be a really good one as well. Finally, our main event, Io Shirai taking on Rhea Ripley in a decent match. It's nothing to write home about, which kind of sucks because I did expect a lot more from this match. But tempers are flaring between both women. Traditional speed versus strength match. Nothing to write home about here. Shirai is extremely fluid though with her movements. She, I think, carried a lot of this match. And that's not a knock on Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea is great, but you know, Shirai is a veteran and she knows how to work anybody. So, you know, kudos to Io Shirai. She was the real MVP of this match. But the match finally did end when Charlotte Flair did appear after Io Shirai hit a tope con hilo onto the outside to Rhea Ripley. She Hurricane Rana'd Rhea Ripley onto Charlotte Flair. They both get back in the ring. Charlotte eventually comes in, hits a big boot on Io Shirai, then a spear to Rhea Ripley. Standing tall, I am smelling a triple threat for TakeOver in your house. What else do you expect? But that's how we end NXT this week. So overall, I'm going to say that Dynamite was a lot better this week than NXT was because they had a pay-per-view to promote and whatnot, and they did a great job in building a lot of interest and a lot of intrigue in Double or Nothing. So I'm very, very excited for this. I mean, I was already excited for Double or Nothing despite the whole no crowd situation, but I'm just even more looking forward to it now that we had this episode of Dynamite. So that was good stuff. Very, very excited to see a lot of the superstars that we missed back. So, you know, good stuff there. As far as matches of the night go for AEW, I'm going to give it to Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix, as well as Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. And on NXT, I'm going to say both cruiserweight matches, El Hijo de Fantasma versus Akira Tozawa, and, of course, Kushida versus Drake Maverick. Both of those matches were really good, and they are all my matches of the night. So that pretty much concludes my review of AEW and NXT this week. Let me know what you guys thought about both shows in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.